Aloha, aloha. Happy Monday. I am not sure if I'm live yet or not, but I am going to assume that I am live. Looks like it's about to go live. And I hope you're having a great Monday. Aloha. Okay, now it says it's live. And happy July 20th. Can you believe that July is almost at its end? Unbelievable for me. But what did I learn last week and how do I want to start this week? Last week, I got super clear on what is important, and clarity just continues to increase for me. I thought I was always fairly clear about where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, but clarity is, I think, a lifelong journey. Clarity must be to get to enlightenment, right? So, what did I learn and what would I love to share? Clarity is alignment. I learned from Taylor Welch, who is one of the top sales coaches that's out there, that burnout is, for him, in his experience, burnout he found was when there was a lack of timing or alignment or a lack of clarity. So, one of the things that overwhelms is extreme opportunity. And so, things like this season with COVID and all the things that are changing in our lives, when we got to essentialism, what overwhelmed us was the extreme opportunity to change, to think of things differently, right? And so, when we think of overwhelm, let's also consider that this might be a time of extreme opportunity to rethink things, and how can we reframe that opportunity instead of being overwhelming into being exciting. When there's burnout, it's typically, he said, which was so aha for me, aka aha, that burnout was when the vision was behind us, when we set a vision for ourselves and we had a goal, but once we pass that goal, then we feel burned out because then we look at the cost of that goal. And when we found that the cost, or the opportunity cost, because I'm an economist, when that cost was greater than we anticipated, then we see all the effort that was motivating us before become overwhelm and burnout, because that effort was not matched with what we wanted it to be or what we thought the outcome of the goal was. And so burnout might just look like lack of clarity again, or lack of timing on what might be the consequences or the impact of achieving that goal. That was wow for me. So, why is clarity so important? Clarity creates alignment. If we are very clear about where we are, we can see how that impacts someone else. If we're having a fight and we are not clear about their goals and our goals, then there's conflict. But once we understand what someone's goals are, typically because we want joy in our relationships, typically if we can get in alignment with their goals and ours and see, as Master Scott Conway teaches us, that the goal or the challenge has nothing to do with us as people, we can get in alignment with it. We get greater clarity. What else about clarity? Clarity provides productivity or focus. Jim Quick, in his Limitless Teachings, teaches us that focus is about observation, that how we can study better is to create a TIP or TIP, to think about what we want to accomplish from something, to identify the I, what is important about that training or that conversation or that project, and then to P, prioritize, right? And so we can focus and create greater productivity when we think about what we want out of that teaching session. You know, boredom is the opportunity, the opposite of focus. And the reason boredom is the opportunity of focus is because we're not fully present. We're not clear about what this conversation, teaching, project can bring us. And if we don't make it personal, we will not focus on it and we will not gain the most that we can out of it. What else about productivity? Productivity is about creating pomodoros, or times of intense focus and clarity. So there was a entrepreneur, writer, guy in the 1990s called Francesco Cirillo, and he named it a pomodoro because it was his egg-shaped timer that looked like a pomodoro tomato. And so he would time himself. But the pomodoro is that if you break up your day into segments of 20 to 25 minutes with a 5-minute break, And then after 4 Pomodoros or 4 25-minute focus sessions, you take a longer 20 to 30-minute break. It's the theory that work expands to fill the time allotted. And if you only give yourself 25 minutes to finish something, number one, you will be highly focused, and most likely, because we like pressure, most of us type A's, most likely you'll get to a really great place in that focused time further than you would have gotten if you left yourself just the task without a time. Also, when you're doing Pomodoro style focus sessions, you can see when something is going to take more than one Pomodoro, and then you'll learn how to plan your schedule better in the future. So Pomodoro is creating focus in 20 to 25-minute sessions, and the break is important because the human brain can only sustain focus for a certain amount of time before it starts to wander. And that's what they teach in meditation, is how do you bring your focus back, or how do you bring your awareness back? Well, it's by creating those breaks or noticing what's there. So that is my lessons and gratitudes from last week. And what I want to carry forward into this week is greater focus, greater clarity, and with the goal of creating alignment in every area. So how do we bring things back into alignment so that everything in our lives is moving in the same direction? That when we have those times of lack of clarity, that is where we get the risk of overwhelm, of overload, because we're not clear that this could be an opportunity or see what appreciation we can bring to it. So I hope you have a great, focused, clear, and beautiful week ahead. For me, the break last week was taking my family, or they allowing me to come along on a road trip, and we got into some hikes. I had some wonderful time with my loved ones, and that brought me into the motivation and focus that I have this week. So happy Monday. Have a great week. Aloha.